Usually we say that if somebody can do it, then the Japanese can do it. So that's the idea. That's what makes them to work hard, because they believe that if there's somebody in this world who can do this thing, then I can also do it. So they are very focused on rigor. They are very focused on discipline. They
Yeah,
are very, very disciplined, and they are work conscious.
can testify
And
that.
what is very, very fascinating about this Japanese institute is that they encourage a lot internationalization. They have a lot of opportunities for international students.
Hello viewers, nice for tuning in again. It's your boy Chris Beto. On this channel, I share my experience and story of other people working and living in Japan. But before we get into the video, do me a favor by clicking on the like and subscribe button. Okay, so let's get started. In today's interview, we are opportunity to have a great personality with us who goes by the name Dr. Akosa. He currently holds a PhD in condensed matter and material physics from King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, Saudi Arabia. He's currently a researcher at Waseda University and a visiting research scientist at Riken National Science Institute. That's Japan flagship research institute. He's currently involved in groundbreaking research in the area of physics and has authored several peer-reviewed articles with fellow Japanese colleagues. Let's get to hear the story from the horse's mouth. Sir, it's a great pleasure having you today.
Thank you very much, Chris. Happy Sunday. Yeah, my name is Collins Akosa, as you know, and my friends call me Del Copelands for a good reason. Actually, thank you for this opportunity to talk about my research. I know I will sound crazy, but yeah, so I'm a Cameroonian. As you can see, I'm wearing my traditional wear, and
Yeah.
I'm very proud Cameroonian in Giman. So it's an opportunity to also show my culture. Yeah, I love this, and the weather is also quite good.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm from. I was born and bred I grew up in Limbe, in Cameroon, and I spent all my life in Limbe, and then I studied from one place to another. But fast forward to Saudi Arabia, I did my PhD in Saudi Arabia, and I was reading this research article of this guy who's working in Riken, and we had an interview. He gave me the chance to come to Japan. I was worried because I didn't know the Japanese
Japanese.
language and stuff, but I had a chance to be accepted to come to his group, and he's been a very good guy to me. I love Japan. I love staying here. My family is actually here. So what do I do? What do I do? Actually, I use paper and pen and a small laptop
Yeah.
to do the things I do. So
Yeah.
what do we do? As you know, I'm sure you're holding a good phone now. I'm sure it costs some dollars.
Smartphone.
Yeah, smartphones, and that's exactly what we do. We try to see how we can improve these things. We use pen and paper and a computer to try to model the things that can improve the functionality of the devices. Remember, some couple of years ago, you had this hard drive, 512 gigabyte.
Yeah, the big
You
one.
were so proud of it, and it's like, oh, you're a big boy. Yeah, but now you have 32 giga, 64 giga, very affordable.
500 giga, 1 terabyte.
Exactly, that's
Yeah.
exactly what we do. So we try to understand how these devices function and how we can improve them. Sometimes you can have maybe phone or 5 years old, the battery is not have a short lifetime. What we do is we try to understand what can we do to improve the lifespan of a battery. Some other times you have a heating phone is very hot after using it for a while. We try to see how can we reduce this heat loss in the device to make it more and more interesting and function well. So this is exactly what we do. But the good thing is we don't need a lot of money to do that. We just need a pen and a pencil and then maybe a chalkboard and a computer, and then we are good to go. So basically that's what I do for a living. I go to the office, sit on my desk and work. Sometimes I work from home. Yeah, to be able to get these type of things.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. That's great.
yeah,
That's really great. I'm really happy hearing um uh, to see the product or the outcome of what you guys are doing. Because when back I was in the secondary school, we just studied physics, studied the Newton's law and things like that. But theory, a lot of theory. But now you guys are in the practical. You guys are doing the rework.
yeah. And
Um,
and I also mentor students, so I am also very passionate about mentoring our next generation of physicists. People have this concept of mathematicians and physicists as these guys who don't comb their
Crazy,
hair,
yeah,
who
yeah.
don't wash clean or something like that. And but yeah, we're trying to make life more interesting. You have physics who are doing some wonderful work, some things to improve your life. So they are human beings, and we are trying to train the young generation of physicists. So we have a lot of effort in this. Maybe we're going to talk about it in the course of this
Yeah.
interview. So yeah, so we are the next generation of scientists. Yeah. So yeah.
Thank you very much for the introduction. What are some of the recent works you've been involved in?
Okay, so you know how fast your device can function, right? Remember, if you have a computer, you put the switch on. What happens to the computer? It takes some time. You see, the Windows computer will be doing this and this and this. So how fast your device can function is some of my interests. I am interested lately with what we call magnetron dissipation. So magnetron damping gives you information on how fast you can make your device to function and how fast you can make it just function in particular, just how fast. So recently we developed some new theory that we call chiral damping. I know it's crazy to explain, but the a general idea is
That's
that
big book
yeah,
for
the
us to
general
understand.
idea is that we can be able to make device function better if we take advantage of these properties. And be careful, because here we are talking about things that are not intuitive, they're counterintuitive. So it's something that needs some systematic studies. So, but the output of it is very simple: is that we are going to create devices which will function the way we want it to function. Because if you can control how fast a device can operate, you want to put switch on your computer and it comes on immediately. You want to click download and download immediately. You want to send an information from Limbe to Cameroon and it gets instantly. So this also has to do with how information is being processed and stuff like that. So I think basically that my interests have been able to have some proposal about some of these properties. And basically my job is just to publish paper and get it cited, and I get paid. But yeah, but in industries we use these ideas to improve the functionality of these devices, and then life continues.
Hey, hello viewers. I think that's big book for us. But what did you take is that what they are doing in the field in the lab is just to make our devices, the laptops, the phones that we are using to perform better. The time you take to on your laptop should be one or maybe within 1 to 5 seconds or 10 seconds. But I remember in the past when we had the Pentium 5 and stuff like that, we on those laptops, we have to wait for hours before they coming on. Yeah, so just have that. It's big book for me to understand, but what they're doing is just to help us make our device perform better. So we move to the next question. You've been in Japan for 6 years. I think there are some things you admire about the Japanese higher educational system. So, can you tell us some things that you admire about this, the educational system of Japan,
Yeah,
specifically the higher educational system?
yeah, I think I've not been fortunate to work in the educational setting. When I came to Japan, I was a researcher, so basically research. So I don't have a lot of interaction with the students.
Yeah,
But lately, for the past 2 years, I've been in Waseda. So in Waseda, yeah, we have some communication with students and stuff. So I have some couple of experience with them. But what I can say for sure is that in the education system, Japanese higher education system, they focus a lot on research, which is really important. They are very rigorous. They
yeah,
focus on rigor. So a student will do assignments and he will make sure that he finishes his assignment. If he cannot do it, he will try to do it. As in
yeah,
they say, usually we say that if somebody can do it, then the Japanese can do it. So that's the idea. That's what makes them to work hard, because they believe that if there's somebody in this world who can do this thing, then I can also do it. So they are very focused on rigor. They are very focused on discipline. They
yeah.
are very, very disciplined, and they are work conscious.
Can testify
And
that.
what is very, very fascinating about this Japanese institute is that they encourage a lot internationalization. They have a lot of opportunities for international students. But it turns out that maybe, especially from Africa, people don't know about these opportunities.
That is it. That's true.
Everybody thinks about MIT, Canada,
Canada, the
America,
US,
but
Fulbright scholarships, Commonwealth, and
yeah,
things like
yeah,
that.
but Japanese institute, they have an enormous, especially for science and science, especially for science, there are a lot of opportunities for international students,
Mhm.
and they have enormous funding. I think Japan is among the top four in the world in terms of funding that has made available for science and fundamental science. So it's a wonderful place for somebody who wants to do research and somebody who wants to have immediate impact. And that's not just all. Japan is also high in technology, so it's not like just science. It's a science that leads to some technology. You know, they are top in this electronics and stuff. Why? Because of research. If you go to most Japanese companies, they focus a lot on R&D. They have a lot of people working on research. That's the reason why they make different designs every day. That's the reason why they improve their electronics every day. And that's the reason why Japanese electronics is top in the world, because they put in a lot of effort in research. And this is something I admire about the Japanese system.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very rigorous, discipline, hard work. If someone can do it, then the Japanese can do it. That's
absolutely.
the mindset. They are go getters. They
Absolutely.
work so hard.
Yeah,
I really admire that about Japanese
yeah,
people.
yeah.
Wow, that's a good one. When it comes to some challenges you face as an African or as a researcher in Japan, what are some of them?
The obvious is language. Language
Oh,
barrier
language
is
barrier.
obviously a barrier. But
Yeah,
the thing
yeah,
is that
language everywhere.
it's not an issue for somebody in research, because usually your objective to sit and do some research and get it published. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
good thing is, all these journals are in English, so I don't have any handicap in that aspect. But again, the difficulty integrating to the system is a big one, because as you know, in Japan, you're always going to be a foreigner, right? Even if you're natural, you have a Japanese passport,
Yeah.
you're going to always be considered as a foreigner. So that is something that is really disturbing for foreign professionals here, because they always feel like I can never integrate into the system, or even if I integrate in the system, I would never be accepted as a Japanese. So that's something that plays into your that psychology. When you work here, you always feel like there will be a time when you're going to leave.
Yeah, but I think also that when it comes to that aspect, being Japanese, for you to be really Japanese means you understand the rules, you understand the culture, and understand every aspect. And as a foreign professional in Japan, I think you shouldn't want to be Japanese, because of course you never be Japanese because you never understand all the rules and all the aspects of Japanese culture. So you have to accept that position. That's like I accept that position that oh I'm a foreign professional here in Japan, and I will never be 100% Japanese because I will not understand all the rules as a
Absolutely.
Japanese.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
but it's just some comment to make,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
usually
yeah.
when you are working as a
What
researcher,
are your thoughts about the African diaspora in Japan and in the future?
oh, that's an interesting one. Actually, from the look at things, the population of Africans in Japan is growing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Exponentially, I think so, because more and more people are realizing that Japan is a good place to come to, because people before were limited by this idea of the language
Language
barrier,
barrier.
but people have been trying to exploit that in a good sense, because actually it's a good thing for you to come and learn a new culture. So I'd advise our brothers and sisters who want to come to Japan to think of it as an advantage, not that it's advantage,
Yeah.
because you are coming to learn something different. You're like coming to learn a new language, a new way of life. It enhances even your productivity. So it's a country where you need to come and understand the people, try to invest some time to learn their language, to learn their culture, and then you realize that it's just so fantastic to stay in Japan. Apart from the safety, I mean, we talk about safety. Japan is one of the safest places in the world, apart from earthquake, of course, but it's very safe to
Yeah, yeah,
live in Japan.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Wow, that's a good one. Coming to Japan, understanding the system, learning the language, getting into a new culture, create community, be with the people, and then of course, gradually, I think you'll be successful in the land of the rising sun.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And also, even especially people who are trying to do business,
yeah.
it is the best place to learn how to do business,
In
because
Japan, right?
Japanese
They
are
are
very
very entrepreneur.
and they are very meticulous.
Yeah,
They are very meticulous. They do their research well. They make sure that before they put in money in something, they have enough information to judge that it's going to be productive.
yeah.
So this is the best place to actually start. You know, it's the best place to actually start, because then you know that you are going to do things right. So I think that's also something to keep in mind when you think of coming to Japan. It gives you that opportunity to expand yourself in those
In that
directions.
direction.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, we move to the next question, sir. About what are your advice or some advice that you have for prospective Africans or young professional or young aspiring candidate who is currently living in Nairobi, Kenya, a young African who is in Pretoria, South Africa, a young African in Cameroon? What advice do you have for them who have plans of maybe engaging into your area of expertise, into your area of research?
Okay, that's a good one, because actually that's the only one that does not need barrier, a
Yeah.
language barrier. Actually, as a researcher, you don't need Japanese to excel as a researcher. That's a good one, because if you are from Cameroon, you can speak English. If you are from Nigeria, you
You
can
can
speak
speak
English.
English.
All you need to do is to come to Japan and get a chance to do your research, because even the top research journals in the world is in English.
Yeah.
So you don't need Japanese to do research. You need Japanese to get into
Into
the
the
society.
society.
So that is something else. It's different from your fundamental reason of coming. So Japan present a lot of opportunities, and not just that, they have a lot of opportunities, especially coming from less developed countries. I also know the Japanese government introduced this TCAT program where they are
Yeah.
encouraging a lot of African
The Tokyo International
Japanese
Conference for African Development.
connections.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a good time. Unfortunately, COVID came, and I think
It
it has
slow
slowed
things.
down.
Yeah. But recently there have been some meetings regarding the Tokyo International Conference for African Development in Africa, but it's a country. I don't know the country, but I'm gonna put the country on the description below. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, so that's a good move, because these opportunities are presented to Africans to take advantage of it. Because everybody is there's a second scramble for Africans.
Yeah, yeah.
So everybody wants to have this African
Want to have a
connection,
taste of Africa.
because we have a lot that we can give to the world. Because
From timber, from the natural resources, from the coal and
even human
everything.
resources, and this
Human,
is this
yeah, yeah,
these
yeah.
are things that are actually well exploited. People are exploiting now, because African have human resources. So coming here, you give you better opportunity to express your abilities. So I really recommend people to check these institutes. They have big institutes in Japan that has a lot of funding. As you know, Japan is top 4 in the world when it comes to investing in
Yeah.
research. So it's a good opportunity for researchers, and
Wow.
they also encourage a lot of collaboration. So even if you are in Africa, there's always some collaboration that you can create with Japanese researchers. So they are there. As a matter of fact, we have one of such collaboration where we bring students as an exchange program,
Program. Yeah.
and we create some memorandum of understanding in which the institute here take charge of every expenses.
Like create exchange programs between Japanese university and universities in Africa.
Africa,
Wow, that's
absolutely.
great
So we
in the
already
area
have,
of research.
yeah, we already
Wow,
have
that's awesome.
2 students or 3 students benefiting from
Benefit.
that, and they don't
And
have
they
to
come to
pay
Waseda
anything.
University.
Not Waseda, Riken,
Riken.
Riken,
Oh,
Riken. But there are also opportunities in Waseda
Waseda.
that they can exploit.
Yeah, so my fellow aspiring researchers, my fellow aspiring students, Japan is a nice place to be. It's a nice place for you to come and do research, for you to come and study as a student, for you to come and work as a professional. Do your research, do your due diligence, and come to the land of the rising sun, as Dr. Collins, Akosa has rightly said. Yeah, limitless opportunities. Come and explore. To the next question. So, what do you think about the African diaspora's impact to the motherland? Do you think Africans need
Hmm.
to move back to home to create an impact? Or what's your thoughts on this?
I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of people who disagree with me, but I feel that as of now, the system in place, they are not ready. African are not ready for the direct impact of the diaspora. I think it needs some time. I need some education. Why do I say this? Um, Obviously, I'm from the pedagogy, from the academic perspective, and I've been involved in some couple of give back. So I go to Africa to teach.
Oh, you teach. Oh,
Yeah, I
that's great.
teach. I,
Goes back to give back knowledge.
I
Yeah.
teach for 3 weeks in African University of Science and Technology, Abuja. That's my alma mater. That's where I got my first
In
in
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Oh, my Nigerian people.
Yeah, yeah, and also AIMS Cameroon, African Institute of Mathematical Science Cameroon. So I go there to teach, and what I gathered is that the system in place, like especially when you are going to the university. Fortunately, these are research institutes which are coming from abroad, so it's
Yeah.
easy to have a direct impact. But if you are going to the institute in place, they are not ready to do things differently. A professor will tell you, "I've been used to doing this,"
I see.
and there's this general reluctance to do things differently. And for people to make a direct impact, you have to build on your experience.
That's right.
I've studied in Cameroon, in Nigeria, in Canada, in South Africa, in Saudi Arabia. So I'm sure these cultural differences has brought
Build you.
something
Yeah,
in
yeah.
me. And so if I come back to teach, I'm not going to be teaching students based on my teaching philosophy in Cameroon.
But
I'm
from the
going to form
experiences that you've
experience you
gathered,
bring. And when you bring that, it's a little bit not really much accepted.
accepted. Yeah,
And this
yeah.
is where I say that it needs time. It needs time. So the easiest way to do it is to go like visiting,
Yeah, yeah.
and then people can actually accept the fact that maybe doing things differently will improve the system. Not like doing things differently would will threaten their existence. That's
I see.
typically what it is in the system right now. And I
Uh-huh.
feel that it's just a matter of policy changes. I think if the government try to encourage this type of internationalization, like encouraging people to come back
In
and
fact, encouraging the diasporans to
diaspora to
come
come
back and
back,
give back knowledge, what
yeah,
they have learned.
it's
Yeah,
gonna help. But I think that in the nearest future, I think in 5 years, 10 years time, I think things will get back
for
there.
sure. The younger generation is coming up powerfully. We have a lot of people advocating for that, and to see that the African diaspora have an impact back to the motherland. And I'm really happy that you're currently doing that, going back to Ames, going back to Nigeria, your alma mater, teaching there and giving back knowledge. That's great. Wow. So I'm really glad to hear that, sir. We'll move to the next question. What advice do you have for the younger generation to?
There's only one thing I can say for sure: do what you love to do. I mean, this is some of the things that people don't get it, but your passion is most important.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are discouraged by the opportunities that we have. Sometimes people make fun of you. I remember when we were in school, somebody said, "Oh, you're doing physics, you're doing mathematics, you end up being a teacher." I know to be a teacher back those days is a taboo
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you don't have enough to even take care of your family. But the truth is that beyond that is that enthusiasm, that dream, that passion. That's what will take you to places. It's not about the future. If you look at the future, you might not even do anything. So if you are there in maybe class 7 or from 1 or what is it, or you are doing O level or you are doing A level, the only thing I can tell you is that please just be passionate about what you do and love what you do. Don't passionate about what you do. Put in everything you have in what you do. Be passionate about it and do it all your heart. When we were in school, remember those times were like a couple of years ago, we were in Form 5, we were doing maths and you're having A grade, and it's like, this one end up being a physics teacher or
Teacher.
a math teacher.
Yeah, yeah.
But of course, this physics and math that you talked about, that being a teacher, you can use it in now data science.
Data science,
People
it's
are,
what's paying now. STEM,
so that's the
science,
point. That's the
technology,
point. You should
yeah,
have your own
mathematics.
personal. Don't be worried about the opportunities. The opportunities will come. There are thousands and thousands of opportunities out there.
I
But
remember one quote by Abraham Lincoln. He said, I will study and wait and the opportunity will come.
absolutely.
That's what I've always been my drive, especially when I was in secondary school. In this library, there's a writing. I will study and wait and the opportunities will come. Even if I'm studying, I'm not seeing the results, I keep going because I know one day the knowledge I've acquired it will be useful.
And that's another thing also that people have to realize, that education is not about going to school to read books and having grades. If you notice in around the world, the people who employ the smart guys are being employed by some school dropouts. So this is the perspective that we need to bring back home. We need to remove the focus on going to school and having A grades and thinking that that's required, that's necessary for you to succeed in life. No, what is important to succeed is your personal drive and motivation. You have to know what you want to be and work hard to be what you want to be. So it's not guaranteed that you go to school, have an A, you're going to succeed in life. It's not guaranteed. It's easier for you to have an A to succeed, but it's not a guarantee. So we should focus, put more focus, especially in our education system. We should try to give opportunities where people can use other talents. Somebody said in Japanese system of education, kids go to school after 5 years, they don't learn anything, and somebody says it's not good. I believe it's good because you don't want to start making the children start learning a thing in a particular order. You want them to exploit their different
Many
senses.
things, yeah, yeah.
Some
And
students
then
can be good at maybe just making crafts, drawing, or some can be good at just talking, or some can be good at dancing. So this type of education should actually be taken back to Africa to encourage people. And yeah, bottom line is be passionate about what you do with all your heart. Opportunities are always going to come.
well, thank you very much. That was a good one. If there is a one word that can summarize your experience in the land of the rising sun, Japan, what would that be as a researcher?
Patience,
Patience.
patience.
Wow. When you say patience, what do I mean?
Um, in the system where people believe in hard work, especially as a researcher, if you don't have patience, choose another field, choose another career, because sometimes you do some things like take like 3 months doing something, and then after you realize that you'll be doing something wrong, and you of course be feel disappointed. But the truth is that that 3 months that you wasted, it's not waste. It's
It's a
just
learning
it's a
because you've
learning.
learned the wrong way, but it's something that you've acquired.
So you have to be patient. You have to be very patient in what you do and wait for your time. Sometimes we are not patient, especially the African diaspora in Japan. You have many people who come to Japan and the next day they want to be millionaire. They get themselves involved in other things that get them destroy even the path that God has created for them because they are not patient. They feel like they want to make it. It's same thing in science. It's same thing in research. Same thing in football, for example. You have some very great football players who they take him into a team and they keep him on the bench. And he said, no, 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 is this not my place to go to be in the bench? When you are sitting there, you are learning, you are being patient, you're waiting for your opportunities. When the opportunity comes, you take it. So this is why I feel that in life, not just in Japan, patience is a key for anybody who wants to go far in life. Just be patient. You might be in a place today that is not the best place for you, but you have to be patient to know whether or not actually that's not the best for you. Because sometimes we don't have
The
the
foresight to see the
foresight to
long
see
term.
the long term.
Yeah,
We are more concerned about the short term. For example, even in education, sometimes when you fail an exam, most people who are successful in academia, for example, is they are pushed by some failure. Sometimes you have a failed grade, and that's what pushes you to start being careful and
that's
start
true.
working hard.
That's true.
So you have to be patient to have your opportunities. Especially in this Japan, you have to be patient to have your
And
opportunities.
in Japanese, there's a word called gaman. Gaman means you have to be patient.
Thank you for watching. If you like my video or interested in Japan, do me a favor by clicking on the like and subscription button. See you in the next video.